Welcome back to the channel, everyone. So today we're back on our 2019 Toyota Highlander. We're going to do some preventative maintenance. We're going to change the brake fluid, and I'm going to show you how to do that next. Okay, here we are underneath the hood of our 2019 Toyota Highlander. The brake master cylinder is located on the driver's side, and the lid states what type of brake fluid to get. This says DOT3 or DOT4. I've picked up DOT3 for this application. I'm also taking a look to see where is the current level of the brake fluid. And currently it's about half. And so whenever I finish, I want to make sure and have just about half in this of the new fluid. I've also picked up a nice brake bleed kit. Has a pump, a receptacle for the fluid, and a setting, an assortment of fittings and hoses that you need to get the job done. I will put a link to this in the description in case you need to pick one up for yourself. So let's assemble the pump, and then let's take the old brake fluid out of here and fill it back up with new, and then we'll move on over to the caliper. Okay, a couple of points before we get started. This particular vehicle is a 3.5 liter V6. It is not a hybrid. If you have a hybrid car, you're going to want to consult your owner's manual and do not do this procedure. One thing I'm going to make sure of is I limit the amount of contamination that I have. So I've already cleaned off this brake master cylinder. And it's very important that I make sure that this master cylinder does not run dry whenever I'm back at a caliper pulling vacuum. And so what I'll do is I'll be constantly coming up here, making sure that there's enough fluid in here that when I pull the fluid through the line, that it does not run dry. If it does run dry, that could introduce air into the system, and you do not want to do that. Additionally, you want to make sure and use new brake fluid. I just opened this one, and brake fluid is hygroscopic. It will pull water from the air, and that's the reason why they recommend that you change out the brake fluid periodically. So let's get started. I'm going to take my cap off. Inside this one, there is a float. I'm going to pick it up, turn it, and take it out. I'm going to set it there so I don't lose it. Now, I'm going to introduce the hose into the master cylinder. And I'm going to start to pull a vacuum. And then what you'll see is you will see the fluid come out of the hose into the reservoir here. We do not want to overfill the reservoir when we pull the vacuum because it could damage the pump. You can see that it's coming now. This fluid is actually very, very clean. I'm just keeping an eye on it to make sure I'm getting all of that out of there and that I don't drop below the final level. Okay, that looks about good there. Off to my side here, I have a place that I'm going to place this fluid so we can fill this up again. Now you want to be careful that you don't get any of this on any paint because it will damage the paint. Okay, I'm going to put the strainer back in. Okay, that's in there. Now I'm going to use my funnel to fill it up. And I'm going to slightly overfill this to the fill line because I know that I'm going to be pulling it out through the furthest caliper in the back. And we're going to go to that place next. Okay, that's about at the max line. I'll put the lid back on. Then the lid back onto my brake fluid. Let's go back to the caliper where I've got a wheel taken off, and I'll show you how to bleed. Okay, here we are at the passenger rear brake caliper. It's the farthest away from the master cylinder. And what I'm looking for is where does the brake line come into the caliper? That's right back here. Your bleed screw is right here. It's covered by a rubber grommet. I'm going to take that, pop it off. There's the bleed screw. This takes a 10 millimeter to open and close. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the wrench on there. And then I'm going to take my vacuum pump and fasten it to the end. Then they're tight. Now I'm going to pull a vacuum, and then I'm going to slightly crack open that bleeder. To maintaining vacuum pressure. What you see there is not air bubbles. That is because the seal is not 100% airtight around there, and it is continuing to pool. So what I'm looking for is for the old fluid to come out, which you can see it's a little bit darker color. And we're going to keep pulling that vacuum. There comes the old fluid. Now I'm going to close this up, and I'm going to go double check my master cylinder to make sure that we still have enough fluid in there and we haven't gone below the line. Okay, that master cylinder is looking great. Okay, I think we're now to clear fluid. While I have the vacuum on, I'm going to turn it and tighten it. Don't over tighten, just tighten. Remove the hose and move on to the next one. Double check that I've got that tight. It's tight. I'm going to replace the dust cap. All right. Now all we need to do is repeat this for the other rear wheel, the two front wheels. I'll do that off camera, and then we'll come back. We'll summarize what we did, and then we'll be done. Okay, and just like that, we're done. So we've got all 4 wheels bled. We went ahead and made sure that the reservoir is back to the level that it was when we started. And we went inside the car. We pumped the brake a number of times just to make sure that the pressure is where it should be. We're going to road test the vehicle, and then we're all done. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you again soon.